Now it is the right time to discuss about the React hooks. It is one of my favorite concepts and the most liked feature of React, which it has been released after like maybe 16 versions of React. So React hooks are added to the React.js after 16 versions. So it came in around 16.1 or 16.2. These are the best feature I think which React makes it's made it stand out among all the libraries or frameworks. So React hooks give a lot of power to the existing React.js library, and yes, you will be enjoying a lot while writing the React hooks and while coding in or while programming in React hooks. Okay, so let me introduce to the different things about React hooks, and later we'll understand how you can program with the React hooks, how you can deal with the React hooks, and what are React hooks exactly, right? So first, why do you need React hooks? So I always ask this question for myself. Whenever if somebody says a new feature is released in any library or any framework or in any phone or anything, I always ask this question: why? Why do I need this now? Bro. So similarly, when React hooks came after 16 versions, it means it must be either solving an existing problem, right? There might be a problem with the library, and maybe it is adding more power, right? Either of these two cases. So what was the purpose or what React guys were thinking when they released React hooks at a very later stage, right? So first point is why React hooks have been released, right? So to reuse of stateful logic. So what do you mean by this point? So you are defining your components, you are working on the code, you are defining various logic, etc., right? But trust me, if there is no way or if your library or framework is not allowing you to reuse the logic, which is mainly related to the state. So when you build an application, complete application, you face this trouble a lot. Like as a senior programmers, we need to understand, oh, we cannot reuse this. So React library used to have a lot of problems in, or it didn't give us a lot of flexibility to reuse the logic. There are concepts like render props and higher order component, but React itself doesn't give us the flexibility to use this. I mean, core React, it's not the functional programming reusability I'm talking. Core React doesn't give. So with React hooks, yes, now you can reuse your stateful logic very neat, right? And then most important part is it is has reduced the complexity of defining a component. So when you define a component, class-based component, and so basically the main problem it React hook solves is state and lifecycle methods were only possible to the class-based components. So if you want to define any state or if you want to assign any lifecycle methods which we have discussed, it was not at all possible in functional components, but it is only possible in the class-based components. So with this, the classes and you define all of the lifecycle methods, and if you closely observe or when you have worked with lifecycle methods a lot, you will understand that most of the lifecycle methods are pretty unused or they are an overkill. But writing code in all of these lifecycle method has increased the complexity of your entire component. And when the application grows, it has become so complex that to fix a bug it used to take days. So with React hooks in picture, now your component can be reused. So it means you'll have small logics, and when you have small pieces of logic, it is also easier to debug the solution. So React hooks helps in reducing the complexity a lot, right? Similarly, now as I said, JavaScript is not an object-oriented programming language. JavaScript is a functional programming language. So with the restriction in the React.js that you cannot use state or lifecycle methods in React.js without defining a class component, it is a big drawback. So why do I need to learn object-oriented programming language? Because I have to now define the class And in the class, pretty much lot of things are very confusion in classes, because not in the React classes are the concept of ES6 features of JavaScript. So even there, it is a lot of confusion. It doesn't actually obey all the object oriented rules. And also there are a lot of confusions like what is the value of this. So the value of this changes in JavaScript during the runtime, which is a very weird behavior. And to define the state and you deal with the lifecycle methods pretty strongly, you need to have a strong grip on classes, but classes are itself a confusion. So that was one of the huge drawback where people used to think a lot before using React. Right now, with React hooks into the picture, I can say classes can be 100% replaced. You don't have to define a class-based component anymore. I'm saying this statement with strong opinion. You don't need classes anymore after the release of React hooks. Now React library has become pure functional. Okay, so these are the main reasons why do we need React. Okay, why do we need React hooks? Now let's see what are the different advantages of React hooks. So it solves the main problem that you can now define state and lifecycle methods even to the functional components. Okay, so the one of the main advantage of React hooks is now the React library is completely obeying the pure functional programming paradigms. Right, so all the rules and whatever knowledge you have regarding the functional programming, all of those are now clearly applied to the React library. So now you are not deviating half object oriented and half functional programming. Now that is not anymore. And the second thing is writing custom hooks. This is my main favorite feature in entire React or in any front-end development, right? So now you not only you're having some inbuilt React hooks, but the advantage is that anybody can write any React hooks and you can reuse those hooks like a small libraries. We learn about custom React hooks a lot, and once you get a good hold on React and React hooks, you will enjoy writing the custom React hooks. And the thought process of thinking, how can I create a custom React hook so that I can reuse it everywhere? So how can I open source it? So the custom React hooks have been drastically disrupt the entire ReactJS ecosystem. Many popular frameworks like Material UI, Redux, React Router, all of these have adapted to the custom React hooks. And trust me, I was the one who worked with both class-based components and I saw the migration to React hooks. The changeover is pretty good. Really, I'm emphasizing this fact. So with React custom hooks, you know what's exactly happening in your code and you enjoy seeing your code. It looks so clean and you see that there is a lot of scope for the reusability. So your application complexity reduces drastically with this React custom hooks. Maybe if React didn't had this feature like custom React hooks, then I think React hooks wouldn't have been this huge success, right? And by default, it comes up with few of the inbuilt React hooks like useState. So this is the React hook which actually helps in creating or assigning the state to functional components, right? So useState is the first hook which helps in assigning or allotting state to a functional component, which was not possible before because we used to declare this dot state only in the class-based components, right? And the second thing is the use effect hook. I can say this is the most powerful hook in the entire React hooks or React custom hooks. So using these two, so these two are the main underlying React hooks. And using these two hooks, you can build any number of custom hooks. So these are the base or these are the foundation to build any custom hooks. So use effect alone. So use effect basically deals with the side effects like the different lifecycle methods which we have seen. So use effect is a replacement of all the life cycles. How powerful this is. So the way you use effect can actually synthesize all of the React lifecycle methods. So it is the most powerful React hook. We'll see what are the different cases in use effect and how it is reciprocating each of the component did mount, component did update, get derived state from props, etc. I mean, all of these lifecycle methods can now be implemented in the use effect, right? And there is another hook which is use context. So with the one of the React latest feature was you can use context API to share the state between multiple components. So instead of drilling the props from parent to the bottom child, now you can create a context where it is sitting like a global store, and every components are now connected to that context, so that unnecessary sharing of props won't happen and your code looks a bit cleaner, right? And React comes with certain rules which we need to obey. So there are rules of hooks, and they are not very complicated and not to worry. So the first rule is call React hooks only at the top level. So maybe it doesn't really make much sense to you at this moment. It means that you never call your hooks in a condition. So we'll see all of this in the code. What does this statement mean and what exactly is happening and why is this rule important? So always think why they are keeping this rule, right? It makes some sense to the how React hooks have been implemented behind the scenes. So call React hooks only at the top level means don't call React hooks in conditions. So applying hooks on the condition, calling React hooks on basis of conditions is a very bad practice. So don't call hooks at the top level. Don't call hooks only at the top level. And the second hooks is only call React hooks from React functions. So you cannot call the React hooks, or you cannot use the React hooks in JavaScript normal functions. So you can only call inside the React functions. That means React components. Okay. You can call in React components, or you can call it inside the another custom hook. So two places, one inside React components, second in React custom hooks. So only two places you can use the React hooks, right? And building custom React hooks. So this is one of the important feature. This is one of the important feature of React hooks. You can build a lot of custom React hooks, which you can share across your team or across the globe. You can release it as a library, like many of the things like Redux has come up. Redux has built a lot of custom hooks using the use state and use effect. And one of the simplest example of building a custom React hook is use fetch with loader. So this use fetch with loader means you can write your own custom hook. So whenever you want to make an API call to the backend server, what happens? So when an API call is being made to the backend server, you show the user a loader, right? You show the user a loader, and when the API call goes to the backend, you fetch the data, you parse the data, you supply it as a state or props to the component, and you stop showing the loader. So what is actually happening? Whenever there is an API call, you first start displaying the loader. It is because you are blocking the user action so that he is not disturbing the UI, or he is making more number of API calls so that the application gets hanged. You are stopping that by showing him the loader and saying that, okay, some background action is happening, please stay on. And in behind the background action, what you're doing, you're calling the API, you're fetching the data. You're calling the API, you're fetching the data and parsing. So no matter what API call you make, always the actions are same. Maybe you're calling different API and maybe you're getting different types of data, but you can write a custom hook which does all of this. You call the API, you show the loader, you fetch the data, and you parse and you supply it to the component wherever that component or you wanted to make the API call. So you can build one such hook, and you can build a one custom hook to use the local storage. So basically you can create a hooks call as use local storage. So sometimes when the user is filling the form and suddenly his internet goes down, or maybe he refreshed the page accidentally, or maybe because of some reason he refreshed. So if you are not storing in the browser's local storage, and when the page gets reloaded, whatever big form he was filling, all the data inside that form will be lost, right? So developers use a lot of local storage, storing some of the information in the local storage, which is very less sensitive, and this also saves time calling the backend server again and again. Let's say I want to fetch on the profile page, I fetch the personal details. So I don't have to fetch the personal details again and again because those won't change frequently, right? So you can build such custom hooks which you can, which will be a wrapper around the state. So whenever you use local storage, it means you create a state variable, but that state variable will be inside the local storage. So there are a lot of use cases of React hooks, and let's see how React hooks are defined and how you can play around with them in the program, right? So let's see how it works.